Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that is quite literally all around us. But what is it really? We're talking about the cloud. You hear the word constantly. It's not just some digital attic for your photos and files. It is a massive, fundamental change in how technology works. So let's cut through all the marketing buzzwords and get to a real solid answer. And to do that, we've got to start at the source. This is the official definition from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. Now, you might see some French here on the slide, and that's just a great reminder that these concepts are totally global. NIST calls the cloud a model for on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. The two things to really lock onto there are on-demand and shared pool. That's the secret sauce.
Because, and this is so important, the cloud isn't just a single piece of tech. It's a completely new way of thinking about how we build and use computer systems. It's a whole new paradigm.
And this image, it tells the whole story beautifully. Think about it. We started with traditional IT, where one application ran on one physical server. Super rigid. Then we got virtualization, which was a game changer. It let us slice up one physical machine to run multiple systems. But the cloud takes that to the next level, creating this flexible layer, a sort of cloud OS that treats all the hardware as one giant, efficient pool of resources.
So according to that same NIST definition, anything that's truly a cloud service has to have these 5 essential characteristics. Again, don't worry about the French heading. The principles are universal. It's got to be on demand so you can get what you need without asking anyone. You need broad network access so you can get to it from anywhere. It uses resource pooling, sharing the hardware. It has rapid elasticity, meaning you can scale up or down in an instant. And it's a measured service, so you only pay for exactly what you use. That combination is what makes it so incredibly powerful. Now, this whole revolution didn't just appear out of thin air. It was built, piece by piece, over more than a decade by some really clever innovators. It really kicked off with the idea of just delivering software through a website, and eventually grew into a world where you can rent an entire virtual supercomputer with a credit card. And companies like Salesforce and Amazon were right at the forefront. They were some of the very first to really grasp the potential of this new model, and they basically laid the foundation for the cloud services that pretty much run our world today.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what the cloud is. Let's switch gears and talk about the 3 main ways you can actually use it. These are what we call the service models. First up, you've got SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. This is the one you almost certainly use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. We're talking about services like Office 365, Google Docs, or even streaming services like Netflix. You just log in and use the software. You don't have to worry about updates, servers, or any of the complicated stuff happening in the background.
Next in line is PaaS, or Platform as a Service. Now, this one is really for the builders, the software developers. It gives them a complete workshop. All the tools, the operating systems, the development frameworks, it's all there, ready to go. They can just focus on creating their app without having to build the workshop from scratch. And finally, we have IaaS, which is Infrastructure as a Service. This is the most fundamental level. Here, you're essentially renting the basic building blocks of a data center, the virtual servers, the storage, the networking. It gives you the absolute most control, but it also means you have the most responsibility. It's like being handed a plot of land and a pile of bricks. You can build whatever you want, but you're the one who has to build it.
And this table here, it just lays out that trade-off perfectly. You can see it clearly. With IaaS, you're managing almost everything yourself, right up from the operating system. With PaaS, the provider handles the OS and all the underlying stuff, so you just worry about your app and your data. And with SaaS, well, you manage pretty much nothing. The provider handles the whole shebang. It's all about how much control you want versus how much you want managed for you. All right, so we've covered the what, the service models. Now let's talk about the where. Where do all these cloud services actually live? For that, we need to understand the 4 deployment models. So first, you have the public cloud. This is the one most people think of. It's owned and operated by huge companies like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. The key word here is shared. You're sharing a massive infrastructure with lots of other customers. The big advantages? Huge scale and incredible cost effectiveness. A private cloud is the complete opposite. It's a cloud infrastructure that is dedicated entirely to a single organization. It could be on their own premises or hosted by someone else, but the point is, nobody else is on it. This gives you the ultimate level of control and security, which is critical for some businesses.
Then there's the community cloud, which is a really interesting one. Think of it as a semi-private cloud built for collaboration. It's where several organizations with similar needs or goals, like a group of universities doing research together, or government agencies with the same security requirements, pool their resources to build a shared platform. And last but not least, we have the hybrid cloud. And just like the name suggests, this is all about getting the best of both worlds. It lets you combine a private cloud with a public cloud. So, for example, a company could keep all its super sensitive customer data safe in its private cloud, but then use the massive scalable public cloud for its public website. This table really sums it all up nicely. You'd go with a public cloud for something like general web hosting. You'd use a private cloud if you're in a regulated industry handling sensitive data. A community cloud is perfect for collaborative projects, and you choose a hybrid model when you need that perfect balance between tight security and cost-effective scale.
Okay, so we've talked about service models and deployment models. We have the what and we have the where. But why does knowing the difference actually matter? Why is this so important?
Well, here's the bottom line. There is no single best cloud. It just doesn't exist. The right answer is never just, let's use the cloud. The perfect solution is all about finding the exact right combination of a service model and a deployment model to solve your specific problem.
And this right here is the big takeaway. If you remember one thing, make it this. The service models, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, define what you're getting from the cloud. Is it a finished application, a workshop, or raw materials? Then the deployment models, public, private, community, hybrid, define where that service is going to live. And the real power comes from knowing you can mix and match any of these to build the perfect solution for whatever you're trying to do. And that's our look at the fundamental concepts of the cloud. You now have the essential building blocks to understand how this all fits together. So the question is, now that you know the pieces of the puzzle, what kind of problem could you go out and solve with the right cloud?
If you learned something new in this video, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next bite.